Hello, I'm Nhi, and today I'm taking you back to the village where I was born and raised to discover what rural life in Vietnam is really like. What does a typical Vietnamese village actually look like? How do the people here live? And what do they do to earn a living?
Một con này là bắt.
In the city, I rarely wake up without an alarm, but when I am back home, the village loudspeaker or the sound of a rooster crowing takes the place of my smartphone. It feels completely different from waking up in the city to smog and traffic jams. At this hour, everything is peaceful, fresh, and cool. Honestly, life in the countryside is very comfortable, but most young people do not choose to stay because working in the surrounding fields is quite demanding, while job opportunities are very limited. Today, I am going to the market to buy some food, so I need to check what we already have before leaving, although my parents usually freeze plenty of clean, locally raised meat bought from other villagers to eat gradually. Recently, it has been raining quite a lot in northern Vietnam, and the weather keeps changing between sunshine and rain throughout the day. This is one of the most common ways to get around in the countryside, a bicycle. The second is an electric scooter, which usually needs to be plugged in and charged at the end of each day to make sure it has enough power for the next day, because almost everything we need is usually within about 1.2 miles. Let me show you another side of the countryside, because just a little over half a mile from my house, this is the scene you will see at 6 in the morning. The rural market is usually the liveliest and busiest gathering place in the village. This is an informal market that is usually held beneath a banyan tree or in the courtyard of the village communal house. Depending on the cut, pork costs from about $1.90 to $2.75 per pound. Shrimp costs about $3.95 per pound. An ear of corn costs about 20 cents. All the sellers need to do is spread out a tarp or a sack, or place a few bamboo baskets on the ground, and they are ready to sell their goods. Most of the products are homegrown, and the sellers are not professional vendors, because when their gardens produce more vegetables than their families need, or they catch more fish than they can eat, they bring some of it to the market to sell. Because everyone knows one another, the atmosphere at the market feels very familiar, and people buy and sell while also asking about each other's families and neighborhood news, almost like a morning gathering. But today, I have mainly come here to find something for breakfast. These were some of my favorite breakfast foods when I was a child, with a filled baguette costing about 40 cents and a small sponge cake costing about 25 cents. A fried sticky rice cake costs about 20 cents, and it was something I wished I could eat every morning. So back then, I always looked forward to my mother coming home and taking me to the market to buy one. However, when I was a child, that was a luxurious breakfast for me because there were 5 children in my family. So every morning we usually ate leftover rice with sesame salt or the pork floss my mother made. I can buy 3 of these fried dough cakes for about 20 cents, while in Hanoi, I usually have to pay about 40 cents for just one similar cake. The sweet cakes here usually cost from about 20 to 40 cents each. I also bought a large serving of steamed rice rolls for about 20 cents, and there is so much that it would probably take 3 people to finish it. I think the most commonly ordered dishes here are sticky rice, rice noodles, and steamed rice rolls. And a serving large enough to fill you up usually costs only about 20 cents. Let us see what I managed to buy. I spent a total of about $1 on breakfast for 4 people, including a filled baguette, pizza bread, fried dough cakes, and steamed rice rolls. What kind of breakfast can you buy for $1 where you live? The steamed rice rolls are very soft, and the aroma of fried shallots makes them especially appetizing. They also have to live away from their parents, just as I did when I was young. So I understand how they feel, and seeing them happily eating their favorite cakes makes me feel that I have done something truly meaningful. I want to show you the place where I was born and raised, and this is the front gate of my family home. Our front yard is very large and is used for parking vehicles, drying clothes, drying rice during the harvest season, or giving the children a place to play. And when we have many guests, we spread extra mats here so everyone can sit together and eat. The living room has a wooden table and chair set, a television, and a traditional wooden platform bed, while my siblings bought my father a massage chair because both of my parents often suffer from aching muscles and joints. The most important place in a Vietnamese home is the altar for the ancestors and deities, where the family prays for everything to go smoothly, lights incense, offers food and fruit, and believes that loved ones who have passed away are still present to protect and support us. Right beside it is the tea table, where my parents usually welcome guests. And in the countryside, visitors sometimes do not need to make an appointment because they simply walk through the gate, call out the homeowner's name, and come inside to sit down for some tea. My house has 3 bedrooms, and a typical bedroom here usually does not contain much furniture because all you really need is a bed, a blanket, pillows, and a mosquito net. Because there are many trees surrounding the house, there are also many mosquitoes, so a mosquito net is almost essential when sleeping. My parents' bedroom is very small, with only a narrow walkway and just enough space for a bed and a basic wardrobe. This is the staircase leading to the 2nd floor, and it is quite narrow and a little dark because my family rarely uses the upper floor. Most of the time, everyone gathers together in the living room, and my sisters and I used to share one bedroom. But after everyone got married, the space was divided into smaller rooms like these so that each person could have a little privacy. Because the house is not soundproof, you can often hear the neighbors calling one another to come eat dinner, as well as the sound of people singing karaoke. This is the toilet area, and it is also where we take showers. This is the laundry area, where we keep the washing machine and a second kitchen. My family used to cook with a gas stove, but we switched to an electric stove because it is safer and more economical. My father's flock of chickens is in the front yard. My mother's fruit and vegetable garden is behind the house. What do you think about my family home in the countryside? Let me know in the comments below. A short walk away from the house, I want to take you to the river and the village fields, where you can see what life is like for the people who live here. Because this village is located beside a river and surrounded by farmland, most of the people who remain here are older. Young people like us usually move to the city, not because we do not love our hometown, but because we want to find more opportunities for the future. If you enjoy discovering the real, everyday life of Vietnam, please like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can join me in my upcoming videos. And do not forget to tell me in the comments where you are watching from. These are chai chai and trung truk, two kinds of local freshwater shellfish that can be cooked in soup or stir-fried. With just a boat and a few simple tools, some people already have a way to earn a living. Even more simply, all you need is a basin and a walk along the riverbank to gather enough food for the entire day. Living from nature may sound peaceful, but it is not always easy, because your income depends on the season, the weather, and the condition of the river. Folding joss paper is a side job for many people in the village during periods when there is less farm work, helping them earn some additional income. Although these gestures may seem small, they bring life and warmth to the countryside, because when people have too many vegetables or fruits, they often share them with relatives and neighbors, while in the city, I can sometimes live beside someone for a very long time without ever meeting them. Today, I am taking you to a special market in my hometown that is held only once a week, so to me, it feels more special than the morning market near my house. When I was a child, my mother often brought me here to buy chickens, ducklings, seeds, and gardening tools. Whenever I return to my hometown but miss the weekly market day, I always feel a little disappointed because this place holds many memories of my mother and me. Although many things have changed, the Vietnamese conical hat remains an important cultural image closely associated with women. Today, conical hats come in a wider variety of designs and patterns, but they are still commonly used in the countryside, especially when people work in the fields or spend time outdoors in the sun. The breakfast stalls at the market are quite simple. I remember that during every Tet holiday, my mother would take my sisters and me to choose one new outfit, and that alone was enough to make me happy for the entire day. Clothing stalls are gradually becoming less common because young people increasingly prefer shopping online, while most customers who still buy clothes at the market are older people who want to see and try on the items in person. My mother chooses a few avocados to make smoothies, and they cost about 43 cents per pound. Sometimes my mother buys something not only because she needs it, but also to support someone she knows who has been sitting there selling since early morning. And these 2 bunches of vegetables cost only about 23 cents. Oh, that is incredibly cheap. We also bought 2 gourds for about 15 cents. Because the village is close to the river, fish is one of the cheapest products here, costing about 85 cents per pound. This is the corner of the market where I always stop because I find it so interesting.
Meow meow.
Do they sell adorable kittens like these where you live? Honestly, I always enjoy stopping to look at them. And just look at this kitten, because it is staring at me as though it wants to say, "Please take me home with you." A kitten, or a small puppy here, costs from about $3 to $3.80. If you could choose one puppy, which one would you pick? It makes me a little sad that I cannot afford to take all of them home, because I really love raising dogs. Chicks and ducklings usually cost about 75 cents each. If you enjoyed this video, you can buy me a coffee, and it would make me very happy. This market provides all kinds of plant seedlings and young animals, helping many older people maintain a self-sufficient way of life. They are so adorable, and I hope that one day, when the time is right, I can bring them home to live with Teet. After walking around the market for a while, we stopped to have some black bean sweet soup. The stall does not have a large sign or an extensive menu, and it sells only a few familiar drinks because most of its customers are older people from the village. One cup of black bean sweet soup has a lovely banana essence aroma, and it is sweet, cool, and perfect for this moment, all for about 20 cents. This is a vehicle delivering items that people ordered online. Besides sweet soup, this stall also sells different kinds of sticky rice for people to take home for breakfast. Although everything here feels close and familiar, one disadvantage is the lack of privacy. Because when someone's child gets accepted into a certain school, a family buys a new vehicle, or even when you eat a particular dish for dinner, the entire neighborhood may know about it only a few hours later. Sometimes, I feel as though the neighbors are the village's breaking news service.
Dạ. Đâu, cháu của em thôi mà.
Cháu là cái Nhi nhỉ?
I am waiting while my father takes my mother's scooter down to town to be repaired. And since he bought her this electric scooter, this is already our third visit here, which shows that a busy shop does not necessarily need a large advertising sign, because the seller's reputation is usually what matters most. They often use the living room as their shop and live on the second floor. They are currently installing a tap water pipeline here, so it is quite noisy. On the way home, I see a famous specialty from my hometown, roasted duck. And its delicious aroma can be smelled from the road. But I am not buying any today because my mother already has food at home. Although I think you should try it at least once if you ever come here. Just make sure you choose the right place. My neighbor is very kind and is helping my father clear the alley. And that is simply how things are here, because people are always willing to help and share with one another. The middle of the day is usually quite hot and humid, so I am going to a typical local grocery store that sells all kinds of dry goods, seasonings, and snacks such as ice cream. It has been a long time since I last saw a small roadside gas station like this. A chocolate ice cream costs about 11 cents. What would you like to see in my next video? Let me know in the comments below. A day in the countryside still has only 24 hours, just like a day in the city. But people start earlier, the places they need to go are closer, and their daily needs are simpler. So between each task, they still have time to drink a cup of tea, check in on a neighbor, or stop for a conversation along the road. Every time I return, I realize that not everyone needs to leave the city and move to the countryside, because every place has its own advantages and challenges. But sometimes, a sense of peace does not come from having more time. It comes from slowing down and appreciating the very small moments in an ordinary day.